All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer. I'm with Brian the Grizzly and Brandman Brandon. How you guys doing?
Good.
We did it. Yes, we
Yeah.
got it. It was so great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy this Saturday we got to go have the whole theater and enjoy
So
each
fun.
other. This was great.
So fun.
So we'll get right into it. So we're gonna discuss about Thor: Love and Thunder. So I have a clip here, and because I was watching other reviewers, and I'm like, this is the best way to put it. If you don't like this clip, you're not gonna like this movie. That sums it up. If you don't like that, you're probably not gonna like Thor: Love and Thunder.
I agree.
I love
It's
that.
good.
I love it. I love it so much. I have my own screaming goat. So it's such a OG. It's a meme before it was even a meme, and it was. I love it.
My wife
it.
said that's what she wants for Christmas now.
What?
She was like,
they're selling the goats.
she
The
said,
stuff-
she's like, I
stuffed
want
animals.
a screaming goat. I was like, oh my god.
What Derpy
you
said.
seen the
Real quick. Where biased fans will think it's great Marvel movie, which it isn't. I haven't heard anybody say it's a great Marvel movie. There's a few people. I take that back. There's a few of them, but I mean, we're all pretty diehard Marvel fans, though. I think.
yeah.
But yeah. So we'll get into the ratings in a little bit. Spoiler free. Initial thoughts at the end of the movie. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Some good stuff, some bad stuff.
The movie itself was good. I like the pacing. It wasn't long, it wasn't drawn out. I would have loved to see more from the main villain. I would like to see more about his origins, not just origins, but like him becoming who he ended up being. Doing
the thing that
stuff.
made him become the bad guy. Yeah.
Like, I think that was kind of missing. I thought a few things were out of place. I don't know if I could talk about can't talk about why exactly, but there's a few things that I thought were out of place, especially after watching the Eternals. I was like, why what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. Why what are these guys doing? So but it was a Taika movie, and that's exactly what it doubled down on what it was. And it was fun. And Thor is a fun. All right, I always say Thor is like Superman. He can do everything, right? He's like doesn't age. He's thousands of years old. He could fly basically with his hammer or axe, whatever the heck you want. He could do. He could do it all. He's super strong. He's one of the strongest characters ever created. He's probably the strongest Avenger. Honestly, I know there's a joke and all that stuff. He's probably the strong. What what that makes him? Boring. There's no one to match him. He's boring. So giving him layers and making him funny and making him, insightful and someone you care about, or letting him be, have emotions. It's what makes him interesting and makes the movie interesting. Because if it's just Thor, only one who beats Thor is Thor. It's like
a stronger version of Thor.
It's Incredible Hulk with Thor. That's it. So if that's the case, then why make a movie? So how about you just enjoy the ride and enjoy what Taika did? And that's why I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to handle it because this is part of my thing. There's a lot of people saying they made Thor kind of dumb, and I got to disagree with that. Is making somebody silly or goof around a lot doesn't necessarily mean they're dumb, because every time Thor, when it came to getting the business done, he got the business done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a spoiler that the kids got kidnapped. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Oh, hey, I know how I can figure out how to talk to them." Granted, it was a little stretch for some of the plot in that area, which we can get into a little later. But when it was like, "Oh, I can get this started. We can fix this problem." And here, I'm going to show you how to do it. There's a very emotional scene at the end. He stopped being funny and he was being serious, the other
Yeah.
person was kind of being funny. But I think, like what Brian was saying, is giving him layers. He reminds me of a person who can't handle emotions, so
Yeah.
everything's funny.
As
Everything's
and just to branch off of, yeah, and just definitely, and just to branch off of that, I kind of look at him kind of being a goofball and kind of jokey now as kind of like a coping mechanism for all the loss that he suffered.
Exactly.
And
And they explained that.
There's even there's Korg in the opening narration. He touches on that.
It's like he
So
lost his mother,
that's how I look
his
at
father,
it.
his hammer, his girlfriend,
His hammer,
his brother again, and his brother again. I mean, that's not spoiler because all those happened in previous movies. This is what happens.
Yeah, and he lost an eye. Granted, he got a new one, but he lost an eye. So I'm fine with that because just like Tank just said, when it comes time for him to be down to business and when it's time to get serious, he's very competent. So
yeah,
I'm fine with that kind of. I almost want to say Taika kind of soft rebooted the character in Ragnarok, and he kind of, in terms of, like his goofy nature, even a lot of the things that he said, because he went from, that kind of stereotypical, speech that you'd associate with a god character to speaking more like a regular human. And what Taika actually goes into that in the commentary for Ragnarok, saying that Thor had spent so much time on Earth and around people like Tony Stark that he kind of adopted, like slang terms and that sort of thing, which I enjoyed. I found that kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
like he would like use it.
All the heroes like that though. That's what I mean. I was watching Doctor Strange today, the first one, which is very serious, very meta, and he still kind of he jokes around, he's slapsticks, does the same thing with Ant-Man. Same thing with Tony Stark. All of them do that. So why do you hate it so much when someone does it? It's because of the other things that go on. People are just using it, to voice their own opinion, their other opinions about other stuff. Yeah. What they're doing with Thor and who he is great. It's a great character, and it's something that can continue to go on, which is something that I was happy to see.
Yeah. Yes, I think. Real quick, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was saying real quick with the emotions thing too, like we learned that in Endgame, like he doesn't know how to handle his emotions. You know what I mean? And hence why he got became Fat Thor. Is like he doesn't know how to handle his emotions because when does a god need to feel emotions about it? Which is something we learned in this one. Is there's literally a competition for how many sacrifices a god got. It's like that's how much they don't care. You know what I mean? So, and for Thor to actually care about his people and humans and all that stuff, like it kind of shows you he's a little bit different than the rest of the gods.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know.
God
he's
cares
like
about his ex-girlfriend.
Human ex-girlfriend.
How long has it been? 3 years? 8 months, 8 years, 6 months, 3 days, 4 hours, 3 minutes, 12 seconds, 13, 14.
It's like spoiler alert, Tom Cruise shows up as Iron Man and kills Thor. It's not multiverse madness.
Yeah, I don't care what Iron Man you find, what universe you use. He's not killing Thor. Not that guy.
Yeah. But and then we'll get into some of the bad stuff. Or I don't know if you got anything else good that you liked, Brandon.
Without spoiling anything,
without spoils.
Without spoiling it, yeah, of course. I loved the visuals. Waititi really leans into making, kind of giving it a very, very comic booky look. I saw a lot of influence from.
They went scene for scene. And some of that
scene
stuff.
for scene, and even stuff like the opening battle with the Guardians, and like a lot of the imagery, I was very, very fond of overall. I really like what Taika's doing there. I thought that it was well acted. The pacing, it kind of, as far as the pacing goes, it kind of reminded me of Multiverse of Madness in the sense that it kind of throws you in head first. And it works and it runs at a pretty swift pace.
Yep.
And as it should, because we're already pretty well versed and familiar with the character of Thor and this world. So, why not run at a, pretty quick speed.
That's why I want to challenge.
And you're always able to keep up.
I feel like that's probably my bad. I feel like you could have added a little bit more to this movie, and it would have added to the movie a lot more exponentially. I think an extra 30 minutes would have added exponentially to the movie. I would have enjoyed the movie even more because you did not develop all the characters to the level that they should have been. You could have developed it a lot more, and there's a lot of people in the movie that we didn't even see again. I was like, okay, Lady Sif. Yeah, we got Lady Sif. Never mind. We really did.
For a minute and a half, they've done the girl Sif so dirty. They've done Sif so dirty.
Visual,
and that said,
I feel bad
I
for the editor in this film. Same for Multiverse of Madness.
I mean, all the editors and VFX people right now are
not happy.
They are not happy, but this one did look bad. I would say it's my second favorite visual, like one, because like Endgame, that scene with Captain America, on the opposite side of Thanos. But this one though, that planet with the dark and the light, and that was really cool.
Yeah,
very
well done. Everything black and white, and I mean, it was really good. And I can't talk about that because that's spoilers.
I'm being very, very careful right now.
Let's talk about bad.
Well, real quick. So I know you said like they should have added more, and that was kind of my issue too. Was there's plot issues. Like I love jokes. I find them funny, but when a joke becomes a plot point, it kind of becomes an issue. I don't want to get into it yet, but there's a joke that kind of becomes a plot device, and I'm like, okay, I guess, but it seems like not a good enough reason why that's happening. So, but it didn't ruin it for me. It was just kind of like a one little thing, but but I think they could have done that better. But definitely the pacing I thought was, I don't know if it's called pacing. It felt rushed at certain points, and it felt like it skipped parts. Like there's a whole part that we've seen with pictures and stuff that wasn't even in the movie, and that's when Jane gets lifted in the sky because you see the little blue guys holding her up and shit, and she's like, contorting her body and stuff. And I'm assuming that's when she becomes Mighty Thor.
Yep.
We didn't even get that at all in this movie. So I was really upset at that because I wanted to see her become Mighty Thor, and I wanted to see Gore become the God Butcher.
Spoiler.
Yeah. That's not spoiler.
Well, I do think that there was a lot, and it felt like there was a lot that was left on the cutting room floor, even if Taika didn't say anything about his original cut that was apparently 4 hours long.
And it wouldn't.
You do kind of feel it.
It would have added to the movie, and that's when I feel like you don't cut something. When adding it adds to the movie. We talked about the Snyder cut, right? Adding that part about Cyborg, add it to the movie, and his father, add it to the movie. It made so much more sense because when you watch the first half, you're like, why the hell do I care about this person? Adding that made you see a lot more, made you appreciate it a lot more. I feel that that's what would have happened with with Gore, with Jane. Having those things would have added so much to the point where you would have enjoyed it that much more.
Yeah. Gore was definitely probably one of the best parts of the movie. I just wish they would have dug into him like the Cyborg kind of thing you were just saying. You have somebody like Christian Bale doing a really cool character from the comics. Let's see more of it. But I don't know. I mean,
or his transition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think at the beginning of it was.
You saw his beginning, and you saw he's like, oh yeah, he's. But I thought it was eating at him more and more and more.
Yeah,
and that's how it's supposed to be. And
it
didn't. You didn't see that.
I was hoping for at least a montage of him.
I'm ready.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Andy's saying.
I thought it was great. I was hoping
the dystification. Which is very true.
I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I was hoping for at least like a montage of him murdering other gods. We only see him kill one god at the very beginning.
We see the god dead, and
the god dead,
But you don't see
but
them
I wanted
actually
to
kill
see
him.
Yeah, I want to see
Which
him live up
pretty
to the
close to the
title
comic.
of Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody on Twitter put up like, oh, it's Gore the off-screen God Butcher. Like I was like, yeah, that's it. You know,
Is it
a Gore without the
Gore?
gore.
Gore. That was it.
That's my biggest part is I wanted more Christian Bale. You know,
Yeah.
I could have probably used a little bit more Natalie Portman too, but
Yeah, the MCU had Christian Bale. You don't hire an actor of that caliber and underutilize him like that.
Because he was
Yeah.
so good.
He
And
was
it's
so
such a
good.
good character. Why
Yeah.
not develop that character?
Yeah, he elevated the limited content he was given. So, he was far from the problem. It was just the limited content that he was getting, whether that's how it was written or if a lot of scenes were cut.
No, they said they cut all his development.
yeah, he said, Christian Bale said himself that like all the most impactful parts he said weren't even shown. So he's like, there's other cool parts of Gore that we didn't get from Christian Bale. So that's what Christian Bale said. So that's kind of a lot when he's like, yeah, they didn't even show my good shit. I was like, damn, really? So
It was already good. Can you imagine what we missed?
yeah. Yeah. Because I wonder if they kept the in character on set.
This is Christian Bale we're talking about. You know he did,
Yeah.
Andy. You know he did. That's
walking around with a sword.
Walking around with a sword, kind of speaking in that kind of low, raspy voice.
Yeah. 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 All right, but let's get into our rating so we can get into the good stuff.
All right.
Okay.
So let me pull this up. Let me bring that down. All right. So here at Spoiler Kings, we do ratings a little bit differently. We do now, later, never. Now means you gotta watch it right now. It's worth it. Later means you can wait till it's out on streaming, or if it's out on streaming, you can wait till it's TV or cooking dinner. And then never means to skip it. It's not worth the time of day or your money. That being said, what do you guys think? I'll let Brandon go first.
I'm gonna go with a very solid now.
Oh.
Yeah. Very, very, very solid now. Really, it's it's basically Ragnarok on steroids, like I was saying a little earlier. So just if you go in with that mindset, I don't think you'll be too disappointed. Even with some of the things that I was disappointed with, it was still a fun enough time. I had fun watching it. It kept me entertained all around. Even if I wasn't like the diehard Marvelite that I am, but I had fun. I'm considering going again because I know my mom wants to go. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Solid.
I'm definitely going to go see it again. I probably will have it, but by this time next week, you probably will have seen it 3 times. That's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to give it a less solid now. Like it's a now, but it's probably my 4th or 5th best movie I've seen this year.
Gotcha.
Okay.
5th, probably 5th. Everything, everywhere, always. That one is better. Maverick was better. The Batman was better. I like this more than I like Doctor Strange, but it's still, as far as I look at the movie theater, when I look at all the choices, you need to go see it. That's the one you go see. So it's a less emphatic now, but it's still a now. I'm not going to give you a later because I think you would do yourself disservice to do it later.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got Derpy's take on it. He goes, I enjoyed the film, fellas. It had a decent enough story to keep me engaged, but the jokes were overused, very cringeworthy, which was make it a mid Marvel. It's fun film and was entertained. He's saying it's a later, just because it was a decent story, placed in MCU. It doesn't really affect the big picture. It was fun mid Marvel. Yeah, and I think that's a part of the issue a lot of people are having. It's because
it doesn't connect
dots. It doesn't really connect any dots to anything else, which I don't mind because I think I put it on Twitter. If you're not following Spoiler Kings, go check it out. We just made a Spoiler Kings Twitter, so go check it out there. brand new. I think we got 3 followers, and one's me, the Nerd Huddle, and a recast T'Challa guy. So
I liked
but
it was in its own little corner, and kind of standalone, kind of apart. We're so used to everything having connective tissue, and really the only connective tissue we've had to previous movies was the Guardians of the Galaxy early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I kind of
Even
liked
then-
that it was in its own little corner.
All right, Tank,
I
so
feel
what's
like
your
if
rating? Yeah.
well, real quick, I feel if Guardians came out 1st,
Mhm.
and we would have got Thor in Guardians, we would have never seen Guardians in the Thor movie. The only reason we got Guardians is because that's where we last saw Thor. And it was super quick. Like, if you think you're going to get a lot of Guardians, you're not, which I don't mind at all. Like, let them do their own movie.
All right,
And
two fingers. See ya.
yeah, that was funny. That was funny. Also, I felt like Chris Pratt did not want to be there. He's like,
That's exactly what it looked like.
Right? He's like,
Dude,
I really don't give a shit.
This is the day after I just made these 3 other movies. I need you to hurry up and get this shit over with.
Yeah. But for me, I'm giving it a now, man. It so many people are saying it felt lazy, and I disagree with that. I think it took chances, and some of them probably a lot of people would say a lot of them didn't quite land, and I think the jokes were definitely one of them. But it was a very much a Taika movie or a Taika thing, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you don't like Taika, you're not gonna like this. I love Taika. I think he's really, really good at what he does. And I'm a big fan of taking the rule of 3 and tossing it out. So there's the whole rule of 3 in comedy. You do it 3 times to get the full effect. Taika's like, oh no, if Family Guy does it too, where they'll say the joke over and over and over again to the point where you get sick of it, but then they keep at it and it gets funny again, And I think the goats were super funny. Then they got a little much, but by the end, when they had their big little moment, in the end part of it, it was funny again, So I don't know, but I'm giving it a now. I thought it was super fun. You're gonna like it. I think if you like a lot of goofiness, a lot of action, good graphics, very visually pleasing. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. If you're a diehard Marvel fan, I think you should enjoy it. But I get why a lot of people are really, really upset. But it also, I also don't get it because I was like,
because you're not that
and not every
person.
movie, but every movie is not going to be Endgame. That's just not what it's going to be now. You know what I mean? Like that finished, and now we're on to the next thing, which means new solo movies that build up characters and new storylines that all tie in later. They don't tie in now because we just finished it all being tied up. We're starting the next part. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We said it will connect eventually. Remember how important the Russos made Dark World in Endgame? Yeah. Very, very Tim and Eric style. Very Tim and Eric, where they just pounded, and it could be boring. Even like this scene. I think that goes on for a few minutes. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it goes on for a few minutes.
It does. It's like a 5-minute thing. It's not a short clip.
Yeah. Repetition until it's hilarious. There's the rule of 3, which is like kind of it's a rule, but Tyke is the kind of person that literally throws a lot of the rules out of the window. For good or worse. So, yeah. So, I don't know. Like, one thing he does, he never changes his voice. Even when he was Hitler, he was still Taika, So yeah. The universe. So, so that's it. So then we'll look at let me bring this up, the Rotten Tomatoes, which kind of just by what we're talking about, I guess you can kind of guess where it's at. At a 67% with the critics, which okay, I guess 81% with the audience. So. Audience still liked it. The critics.
And I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Close to the audience, but somewhere in between.
Upper 70s, I guess. But
yeah. Same. Upper mid 70s, maybe.
Yeah. So Also, box office did really good. I think it ended with 143 mil.
Yep, 143
as
mil.
well.
That's exactly what it was.
And I think it was the
Oh,
most. But
oh yeah, we're getting that Thor 5.
Hey, they told
I
you
don't
that
know
at
if
the end of the
Taika.
movie.
Yep.
Yeah, stay tuned to that. We're gonna talk about post credits in a little bit. So yeah, but it gives it the best Thor opening. So 143 is the best Thor opening movie. I think it was number one in the weekend, obviously.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it got pretty good. It was the second highest movie this month, I believe. So
It's going. I mean, it's going
February.
to make $800 million.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the 12th best opening for the MCU.
And it's
Put it that way.
probably the 14th best movie. Just or 13th best because it's 27 movies. It's probably 13th best movie.
That's
It's
slightly
probably
above average.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was trying to see what the full box office. So, Love and Thunder crushed it number one. There was at 43 mil. Minions was 45. Top Gun still top three, 15 mil. So
Crazy.
yeah, so those, even Multiverse of Madness is still on the top 10.
Mhm.
But yeah. So it's gonna get a lot of money.
Yeah, it should. It's a good movie. It's
a-
worth it.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. It's a fun
It's gonna take
time.
more money of me too. I'm gonna give it more money. I'm literally
Yeah.
going to this. Here's my wallet. Here you go, and take this $40 for this bucket.
Yeah. So like Derby said, is basically the film was just the first Ant-Man with Thor. It's just nothing to do with the current standpoint of the MCU. So yeah, which I don't mind. I mean, granted, there was something at the end that will play effect besides the post credit, the actual end of the movie that is going to affect, I think, a lot of things going forward. But I don't mind standalone movies again. Like, let's get back to
Yeah.
standalone movies and then tie it in 10 years, or
Mhm.
towards the end of it, because you got to remember, phase 1 and phase 2 were mostly standalone movies. I mean, you sprinkled in
Yeah.
one or two things here. Phase 3 is when they really brought everyone together and then ended it with the big bang, end game. But if you guys don't got anything else, get out of here.
Yep, I think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. All right, guys. But thank you for joining. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and let us know what you thought about any of the stuff. But I'm gonna leave you off with this, and we'll get out of here. Later.
Hey guys.